Right, welcome back, guys. We're going to be taking a look at the drums in this one. Now, there's no getting around this when it comes to the drums in this track. We're going to be looking for sort of vintage samples, retro breakbeats, famous samples from the 90s. I mean, you could try to recreate this kind of thing, but really you want to go digging for the original samples that come from that time. They're just so ingrained in this sound that I think it's silly to try and do this any other way. Now, I will let you in on a little trade secret. Maybe you have come across this before, but we can take a look at a website, which I have a link for, called ComfyBox. And they have a directory here with converted Akai factory sample CDs, stuff that came on CD back in the day, you know, old retro sample CDs. There's hundreds of them here. Now, I will just say I'm not 100% sure about the legality of all of these. They are designed as a sort of backup source for people that owned this stuff. Look, some of these have just kind of disappeared within the annals of dance music history, and wager would be okay to get from here because they don't exist anywhere else. There's other ones here that I think are probably best to stay away from because I think they are still available as digital products in other places. But many of these old sort of Akai factory series, I'm pretty sure you'd be fine with this, but I would just use this with caution. There's one particular as well. I used to have a lot of these on CD as well, and had kind of lost these that all fallen apart and flaked and lost over the years. I mean, I'm talking way back 20 years ago that I bought a lot of these. Some of these ones, the XTC Files of House, Ecstatic Goldmine, these CDs here. We're going to be diving into some of these because I'm pretty sure that they ripped a lot of samples for this track directly from these. So these were taken from Akai discs and then converted into usable wave formats for you. So I've got a few of these downloaded, mostly ones that I used to have, and a couple of others that I've grabbed from here. But there's some really cool stuff in there. I've taken the liberty of taking a few of these out. But if you take a look at, let's say, my sample library here, these XTC Files of House, Ecstatic Goldmine CDs. You'll be going through these and just recognizing tracks left, right, and center. They've been sampled and resampled hundreds of times, and that's where we're going to get our sounds from. I think the loop tools or the... And there you go. That's pretty much what we're looking for, retro samples like that for the drums. Now, I've actually taken the liberty of taking a few out here so we don't have to go through all of these and search. I found a few which I think are pretty close to this track. Let's take a listen to what we've got, process them a little bit, and then see how it sounds. So I've got these first two here. They're pretty much the same drum break. Super famous as well. Just slight variations on those. I'm actually going to stick these together and we'll just consolidate those. That's fine. Now I want to go into the stretching quickly with this. Now Bitwig's done a pretty decent job of stretching this correctly, but I actually want to take a look at the actual algorithms because there are some changes in Bitwig 5 I've made to the actual stretching algorithms here. I'm actually going to go to the Stretch HD, which is kind of the older ones. You can hear it kind of falls apart, but you've got this, that's the standard mode. You've got this transient mode, which I quite like. And it's not quite as smooth as the elastic algorithms, but it's actually what I like about it. It kind of sounds like Rex files. Now, if you knew what Rex files were, it was a format, an audio format which contained slicing info in it. And you'd often get these little gaps when you slowed stuff down or speeded stuff up. It just kind of sounds a little bit more retro to me. Plus, you have the added benefit of this kind of maintaining the transients quite nicely. And I mean, they've added a few, like you can adjust the grain sizes, the onsets and stuff here. We can do a whole bunch. Every single one of these has kind of different controls now as well. You can change the transients here, but you also have the cyclic now, which is a more retro sounding stretching algorithm, which is coincidentally similar to like the Akai stuff. And the cyclic mode will give you stuff like this. That classic sort of slow down sound that was used in a lot of those tracks around that time too. Stretch HD and stretch HD for this one. Now I'm actually gonna, I want to just kind of keep the more mid-range stuff here with these. I'm gonna just bring in an EQ. Just gonna cut out some of the tops too, I think, and the lower parts. We'll change this one to a filter. I cut, I think. Just gonna try and isolate those snares really. That's really what I want to hear there. Right, let's check out the next one. We've got this break as well. Quite like the airiness for this one. I want to kind of use this one to spread things out a little bit. So let's we can put another EQ on this one, yeah. We'll do an EQ plus again. I'm gonna cut all the lows of this one out. There's quite a lot of rumble in the bottom there. So we'll just grab the filter again, the low cut. I want to spread out the stereo a little bit on this too, so I'm going to actually go with the stereo split, and we'll just kind of create our own harsh effect here quickly. Go on the right hand side here, insert a time shift. And now what we can use the time shift to just delay the right slightly. So we'll just push this up to about 10 milliseconds, somewhere around there. And now we've got that harsh effect. You can take a listen to the difference here. That sounds pretty good to me. Let's take a look at these two together now. Stretch these out, and let's enable the kick in here as well. If you just click this one, it's going to switch the playback to the arranger page, not this one. And cool, that's sounding pretty good for now. While we add it, I'm just going to stick a filter in here because in the original they do have sort of a high pass filter there. Cool, let's take a look at the last one now. Just loop this one as well so we can hear all of those together. This one, I kind of want to just hear more of the transients in this. So this one I'm actually going to slice this. So we can just go and slice this in place. You can use this to kind of just use the threshold to look for the onsets here. See what this gives us. And I'm actually going to rather do this manually. So I'm just going to grab our, using the number keys, I'm going to grab the slice tool. We just make sure that we are snapped, and I'm going to just cut right here. And may do that one too. Now what I can do is, rather than playing with transient shapers and envelopes and so on, I can just kind of take all of these and just give them a little envelope like that. Just a little bit tighter now, so when we loop all of these together, you kind of getting the background made up with this second loop there. So I just really want to kind of bring out the transient bits on these. And what we should also do, which I forgot to do in the last video, is to add a filter to this. We want that filter in the beginning. So I'm just bringing a filter there. Cool, we're getting there. I really like the sound of those samples that we have there. We'll take a quick listen. I have a feeling we'll be a little bit way off still, but Not bad at all. They're probably not exactly the same loops that we are hearing here, but that's close enough for me. I'm not going to go digging through countless loops just to find the exact same ones, although I wager if you look hard enough, you will find it, because I'm 90% sure that that is just an old classic break that they're using. They've got a little bit of reverb on the drums. We'll do that as well when we get to the mixing. We'll put everything into a group. Now I wanted to just add in a few little bits of extra. This one, volume come down slightly. I want to just add in a few bits of extra percussion here, because there is a few bits in the track where there's some additional stuff that comes in later on. I think further on in the track. There's definitely an open hat there that I want to bring in. So I'm actually bringing in an 808 for this. In Bitwig, you've got an 808 built in. It's a sampled instrument. It's one of the presets. I'm not seeing it now. There we go, 808. And we're just going to come down to the Legend 808. Let's go with a normal kit down the bottom there. We're really just looking for that open hi-hat there. Just program in some open hi-hats. Again, just highlight that and duplicate those if we want. It's fine. We'll just put in a EQ2 there, just cut the lows off. And I went through some of the Sonic Academy drums. It's just, we need some just extra definition with the cymbals and stuff. So I kind of use this one as just as an offbeat hat. I've literally just grabbed the samples, dragged them straight into a channel here, and it's created a sampler track for us. And that's all it is. We can just come in and program. These, yeah, we'll just go with offbeats like this. Just to provide a little bit of extra definition on that offbeat. And then I also brought in the same sample, but the closed hat version of that. Yeah, pretty much the same. Just a different sample, so slightly more cut off. I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter, I think. And we'll just program in some sort of 16th note pattern here, and then adjust the. Just select those, hit P again, we'll just do a single bar. Not too bad. We'll get a bit closer to that now when we get to the mix further down the line. I think there's still a bit of tweaking that we need to do on these breaks. In fact, I'm going to actually stick all of these breaks together in a group, because they are pretty much one element, I think. We'll call this retro breaks, and we'll leave these together here. They'll all go into one single drum. So we'll color those, and let's color these lighter blue there. And the retro breaks folder, as well as all of these, is all going to go into another group, and we're going to call this one drums. Now the last thing I want to just quickly do here, which is a mix thing, which we'll come to later on, but let's just add in, I'll just add a little bit of a convolution reverb just to give these breaks a little bit more space. So we'll grab just a short studio room. better. I just want to get a little bit of that room sound on the drum breaks there. Cool. We'll leave it at that, and we'll tweak things further down the line when it comes down to the mixing. But I think that's a good start. We can move on to adding some more elements. Let's take a look in the next video. I'll catch you then. Cheers. Bye.